that wants to get treats from the table. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, you got it. How's it going, friends? Welcome to today's tea practice. Thanks for waiting for us to come up. Today is the first day of reopening for Las Vegas, so suddenly the city has come back to life. We would like for it to go a little bit slower, but yeah, it's happening in Las Vegas, and we're still kind of thinking about that because our governor just decided not too long ago that we were gonna move up our opening dates, and so we kind of woke up this morning and said, wow, stuff is open now. All right. So yeah, it's been an interesting morning. But welcome to today's tea practice anyway. Show will go on. Today, in the middle of the Chashi challenge, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a blind... Okay, you can go. Gosh.
It's getting a little antsy.
I know.
Now she wants to stay.
This is my Chashi. It's so
now
soft.
She has the choice. She wants to stay.
I know. Yeah, so the reason why we have this empty table is we're going to be doing a blind Chashi today. Meaning Stephen will select a tea from our collection, not tell me what it is, and then we will go through the process of doing a Chashi together to kind of get through the thought process, the choices that we make in order to make a tea session look practical and aesthetic at the same time from the very beginning. So that's all we do today. Yeah. Hi, Shiloh. Good afternoon. How's it going? Ronan, how's it going to you? Meg O'Brien, Fata Cornelia, and Proud Transmian. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. Shiloh, she's actually not that much of a lapdog. She prefers just being able to have her space. But yeah, she is happy that we're back. So that's why. Hope you guys are having a good day today. So Stephen, what is the tea that we'll be designing from scratch today?
You know what that is.
No, I don't.
What?
This is Wild Mountain White?
Yeah.
You want me to do a session on Wild Mountain White? Are you serious? What?
You want a different
Stephen?
tea?
Okay. So, again, I had no idea what Stephen was going to pick. But in going through the process of the Chashi challenge, I wanted to show what our process was because we are getting a lot of questions about it. It is a more difficult challenge than, say, the pour challenge where you just decide which pour you want to drink that day, you log it, 1 out of 7, 2 out of 7, 3 out of 7, it's pretty easy. For the green tea drink down, same thing, old Genmai cha, old matcha, old Taiping Hokoi, got it. I understand that the Chashi challenge is a little bit more challenging, especially for some of us who maybe feel like we don't have as much teaware, or we don't have the space or the time or the location to do it. And that's actually why we push forward with the challenge, because it is a more challenging prompt. And as someone who, I have a lot of weaknesses, right? I really do have a lot of weaknesses. The process of trying to push through with the goal, even with those obstacles, I think is part of the appeal of doing the challenge. So if you're kind of on the fence about whether or not you're joining the challenge or not, or maybe you're at 1 or 2 out of 3 and you haven't finished yet and you're kind of like, okay, do I want to do more of the aesthetic kind of tea practice kind of session that some of the other people are doing, or do I have to, will I not be able to do the same thing as they will? You can do it, yeah. So let's go ahead and figure out which tea we're to use for this. When you have a tea, let's start from the tea itself. I figured out which tea we have now. It's the Wild Mountain White, which is not very blind, Stephen. It's a tea that we work with a lot. This is my favorite tea of all time. I think, Shiloh, you mentioned that your favorite tea of all time is that's Yunnan Silver Needle. That's scented with jasmine. And for the same reason that you like that tea, we love this tea because it's so consistent, it's so giving, extremely generous, sweet, complex, has a lot of character, changes over the seasons, over the years. It's pretty amazing. So we're going to go ahead and sneeze? No, or not? Okay, I guess not. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and start building our tea session with this guy. So let's figure out what I want to use. This is a white tea. Once you have the tea picked out, I would like for you to figure out what you'd like to brew it in first. and how you're feeling that day. So I'm a little stuffy, I've got some allergies going on. It's not the Rona, I don't think it's the Rona. But I'm not smelling as well because my nose is stuffed up. So not only do I want to brew this tea correctly, I also want to brew it probably a little bit stronger than usual so that I'm actually able to pick up on the notes in the tea. And then this is the tea that does well in almost every single kind of brewing situation that you put yourself in. So whether you use a gaiwan, a hyusu, bowl brew it, it's extremely flexible and versatile. So you're almost giving me too much of an open-ended prompt here because you can brew this in anything. You really could. So I'm probably going to brew it in a gaiwan. Okay. And I have a couple different gaiwans. Why am I picking this one? I'm picking this particular gaiwan because I haven't used it in a while. It was broken in early spring, and I just miss brewing with it. And Shiloh, this is one of the gaiwans that I mentioned to you in wondering if it was a high quality bone ash fired gaiwan, because this gaiwan brews everything just a little bit better than every other gaiwan I've ever handled for some reason. And yeah, I'm wanting to treat myself, so I'm going to pick a gaiwan that brews this tea just better than any of my other gaiwans. Yeah, I mean, I asked Steven to pick a tea blind because I wanted the challenge of it, but Steven, you're giving me a tea that isn't really much of a challenge. You can brew this tea however you want and it's gonna come out pretty well. So I don't know what you want me to do with this. Okay. It's okay. It's like a extremely open-ended challenge. Sometimes the sandbox games are the hardest because you don't know what quest to follow. You know, do you want to do the side quest? You want to do the main quest? Yeah, so world is our oyster for this one. Yeah, so again, more about this tea. This is a 2012 Wild Mountain White. It's a aged white tea. It's 8 years old now. It's extremely sweet and comforting and happy, and I guess what we can do is we can kind of work with the fact that it looks kind of like autumn leaves, you know? Yeah, so let's maybe we could do that. Yeah, I'm going to try to use the appearance of the leaves to make a chashi. They're these kind of like coarse looking leaves. I'm just brainstorming here because I thought Steven would give me a brewing challenge, like what can I brew this tea in? But again, this tea is so versatile that I could pick anything from our teapots and it'll work. So I'm going to now pick a scoop that does well to highlight the appearance of the tea because it's just a beautiful looking tea. So let's see, what scoop do I use? Could use a scoop like this. This is the Mihai Tea scoop that we just got recently. And then we can just see what it looks like on there. I didn't feel like I would like it in this scoop. And for some reason it's okay. It's not that great. I think that the pale color of the scoop isn't really matching the color of the leaves all that much. It kind of looks like they're blending in, right? So I'm going to try to find maybe something white that will help me highlight the color of the leaves more, because it's just kind of getting drowned out in the pale wood color, I think. Yeah, so I'm just thinking through this. Dino Lencioni, where did you get it? This is actually from our local tea shop, Tea and Whisk. A friend of mine is a private collector, and he's the one who showed this tea to me. It's a private collection from his teacher, actually. And ever since then, I just love this tea so much that I forced our local tea shop to carry it so that I can have people also get it. So if you want to learn more about this, let me know. David Salchak, Diana Raquel, Lion, welcome, Garrett, welcome to today's tea practice, and Lily, welcome as well. I'm just trying to figure out how to set up this chashi based on the tea. So I'm kind of lost. Let me find a foundation. So I know what I want to brew it in. I want to keep it simple, highlight the tea. I'm going to try to put something on the table that makes the tea session look a little less bald, because I'm lacking foundation here. I don't know what to do. So if you don't know what to do, that's okay. I'm clueless right now. If you don't know what to do with your chashi, that's part of the process, okay? It's not like I wake up every morning, I'm like, I know what color my chashi is gonna be, what cups, what pitcher, what tea, I don't know. So something like this. It's a white tea. It's a hot day today. It's kind of busy day today. It's kind of weird. World's kind of shifting a little bit. I'd like something a little bit more grounding, but still refreshing. So what color can that be? I'm probably gonna say this color. This is the Tea Curious blue color. It's my favorite color. Yeah? If you don't know what to do, just use your favorite color. See if it works out. Let's see if I like it. I have no idea if it'll work. Yeah, that's really soothing, isn't it? Although I'm blending into it a little bit. So I'm going to add something to it so that it's not so plain. I want to have like a mat over here where I can put my gaiwan as kind of like a headquarters. So I'm looking at my stuff right now. You can use a piece of wood, you can use a piece of cloth, you can, yeah, let's see. For example, just a piece of cloth like this. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a tea cloth per se, but fold it over. It could be like a tea towel, kitchen towel, whatever, and then suddenly you have a base to put your thing on, your teapot on. So now we're building our chashi a little bit. I'm happy where it's going so far. Yeah, not too bad. And then I still want this to be a white scoop instead of a wooden scoop. I don't have a white scoop. So we will just see what we can come up with. A lot of you have been like, oh my god, I don't have as much teaware as Ree does. But that's okay. You don't have to have a ton of teaware that matches every single situation that you've been into. Let's see. For those of you who are just coming in, we're doing a work in progress chashi just to show that I don't wake up and immediately know what I'm going to do with my tea table. Joseph Burton and Sonia, welcome to today's tea practice. Joseph, I know that you worked on some really interesting work in progress looking chashi, you know, like you explained the process to us. It's kind of like this, you know, not so sexy looking process of not really knowing what exactly to put on the table. I find that on Instagram, you know, what we usually see is a finished product after someone's done the in and outs, tested to see which pieces of tea will work the best. But in truth, and as someone who's posted those kinds of pictures, I'm doing this every single time. Like, which will look the best? And I'll put things out, I'll put things back. See, now I just picked something up that I don't usually use as a scoop. But I never realized that these two things have some synergy to them. See the painted lines on the gaiwan? Let me lift it up so you see it a little bit better. This is a hand-painted gaiwan with these very, really delicate paintings, but there's these brown lines that connect the flowers and kind of outline the color of the painting. It just so happens that this cheap plate that I got from Japantown from Kinokuniya, I think, in Seattle, happens to have the same kind of like brown outline lines and kind of like natural looking motif. So suddenly, these two things that I never used before look pretty good together. Yeah. And the white background of the scoop, of this display, I mean, looks just a little bit better to me than this kind of like, well, what is this? This woody looking scoop. I just feel like because the white tea looks like old leaves, when it's on this kind of like rough and rustic wood material, it accomplishes a certain look, but it's not what I want to use right now, especially since I've already chosen my gaiwan, which is like this bright white. So I'm gonna see what it looks like a little bit better, I think, with a white display plate. Yeah, I like the look of that. Okay. And who am I doing this for? I mean, I'm doing it for you guys, for sure, but if you're just doing a session alone, it might seem a little silly to do all of these little steps, set up the table if it's just for you. During the last couple chashi sessions we've done, we've kind of approached it in a way that you're trying to present the tea to someone else. But in this case, just because you're having tea alone doesn't mean you have no reason to display or set up a chashi for yourself. I think it was Delphine in the Discord who pointed out that not only is an aesthetic thing, not only is it also helping you develop the ergonomics of your tea setup, it's also a kind of mindfulness practice, kind of just a tuning down and kind of coming back to the tea. Prepare yourself to brew the tea in a way that ultimately helps you become more focused and more there once the tea is there. It's helping me quite a bit, because now, venturing into the open Las Vegas world now, I'm just like, wow, what's gonna happen? But calm me down just from this practice. I am gonna keep this tea pick from the tea scoop sets from Your High Tea Scoops. Yeah. And yeah, I'm going to use this to probably scoop the leaves into the gaiwan, because it's a little bit open. If I just pour it into the gaiwan, maybe I might spill, but with the help of like a little pick like this, it doesn't have to be a, designed for tea pick. It could be a chopstick. I've seen people use chopsticks before. It could be a twig from a tree. It could be an old hairpin, doesn't matter. So using this to kind of help me later on put the leaves into the gaiwan. And when you have a pick like this, you don't always have to have a pick like this during your chashi, but the benefit of having one of these is if you'd like to kind of play around with the leaves, poke at them, lift them up without using your fingers, it looks a little bit more refined, I guess. So I'll keep that. I like the look of that. All right. Next thing. We have our gaiwan, we have our display. Now you can decide, do you want to use a fairness pitcher or not? Our very standard fairness pitcher we've always worked with on the stream are these glass fairness pitchers, and I like them a lot because they have a kind of hollow body over here, kind of bulbous, and then towards the top it kind of like closes up a little bit. And this shape is very similar to a wine glass shape. And wine glasses are designed with this shape because they trap aroma really well while also showing off the color of the wine really well and maintaining body. And I really like these pitchers when we're on stream together because they're very visual, they're very fun to work with, they're very ergonomic, they don't drip. But now from this personal tea session I'm doing, I'm making a choice and you can make a choice too. Would you like to use a pitcher, or would you just like to try to use the gaiwan to pour into cups? And this will inform the cups that you're going to use, because I can actually use just a big bowl, and I know from knowing my teaware that if I fill this gaiwan up all the way, I can actually just decant the gaiwan fully into the bowl without having to do, little side-by-sides. And then knowing that Steven's here, I can just share the bowl with him, right? So yeah, just thinking about it. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I'm gonna think about it. Let's take a break. Let's ask you guys what you guys are drinking. What are you guys drinking today? Welcome Anna to Tea Practice today. Joe, welcome. And Eric, welcome to today's tea practice. Shiloh says it's a mindfulness exercise. I agree. Yeah, especially for those of us who need some help kind of calming down sometimes. That's why I like tea so much. Tea is the one thing that kind of helps me always just kind of dial down. Or hype up if I need to. Anna says a brown cloth and brew runner gives warmth to your chashi. Love it. I'm glad. Yeah, it's working out. I like that I'm matching my chashi too. How awesome is that? I'm joking, but actually the color that you're wearing, especially if you're trying to do a presentation about tea, I think is pretty important. So when I'm trying to do a beginner's session, let's say a 101, I try not to wear something that's too kind of like modern tea hipster looking. I have some of those outfits, like my little like Uniqlo top that I have that, my teacher I just loves it because it makes me look really good when I'm pouring tea. It's so tea, But when I'm doing a 101, I'm sorry, I'm so stuffy. 101, a beginner's class with people who are not used to doing tea, I'll usually try to wear something more modern so they don't feel like, oh, she's Asian and she's wearing the Asian clothes. It's because she grew up with this tea making family and it's so distant from me, It's a subtle choice, but I feel really strongly that when I share tea with people, I don't want them to feel like it's far away from them. I want them to feel like it's modern. You can use it as part of like a daily lifestyle kind of thing. So I try to kind of keep it casual. when I teach tea to beginners, you know. I try to use kind of like toned down colors. I try to kind of focus on the tea table. So I will do this often actually, where I'll wear the same color as the tea table so that I'm kind of like in sync with what the tea is. Like, don't worry about me. I'm not who you're supposed to be focusing on. I will deliver the message to you, but the message is the tea kind of thing. Subtle things like that. And I didn't come up with that myself, you know. In in Japanese tea ceremony, there are specific rules that people have as to which colors are used in the tea room, what kinds of clothes are used, especially in spring versus summer versus fall versus winter. So it's a minor thing, but especially if you're having a presentation for a workshop, or if you're having tea with like some friends for the first time. Me and Steven again, people were like, oh, and it was you, I think, who was like, I can't believe you guys are introverts. We're like, yeah, we're really introverted. Let's say someone invites us to a party, and they're like, yeah, Ray likes, she has lots of friends, so she'll want to go to the party, right? And we will be the people like bring our tea setups to the party, because I can't think of anything I want to do at a party, because I don't drink. I don't like to dance with too many people. I will dance at home, or if it's DDR, like Dance Dance Revolution, we'll dance. But if it's like dancing, I'm over it. I kind of did it a little bit growing up in Vegas. But like, okay, so I don't drink, I don't like to dance in public with people I don't know. That's better. I'll dance with you guys, that's fine. I don't like party games that much. I don't like talking about myself with no platform. So what we'll do, we'll literally bring like a tea setup to the party. I don't care what kind of party it is. Even if people are like raging, I'm gonna bring my tea setup. And
then we find all the other introverts.
And then we find all the other introverts who were taken there by someone else. Or they're like maybe ambiverts, like, or maybe, yeah, like their girlfriend's, it's the girlfriend's friend whose birthday party it is, or, maybe they're close to the person hosting the party and they want to be polite, so they kind of hang out, and then usually they're stuck with a dog, like yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So, in that kind of setup, those are the kinds of setups that you might want to think about what you're wearing, because you're communicating some kind of message to people. And the more kind of approachable it is, the better. Like, imagine if I came to one of those parties and I have like a qipao, like the really, I have one of those. I have a couple of those actually. The really, really, you kind of button them here, and then they kind of go down here, and then like there's a slit down the side and stuff. It's a qipao, okay? It's I don't know how to describe it. It's like a traditional Chinese and Vietnamese outfit. And you'll see a lot of people, not a lot, but a few people will wear them in like tea photo shoots, because it looks very traditional Chinese. And I think that's okay, because if you're in China, it's pretty common to see people wear the traditional outfit when they're doing Gong Fu ceremony. But if you're at a party and everyone's like raven, and I show up with my Uniqlo, tie shirt, looking really like, I don't know, I just feel like people might think that, oh, they're doing the tea thing over there, and I'm not allowed to go there because we're different, Does that make sense? Yeah, that was a long kind of thought process, but there's just so many little things you can adjust in your tea presentation, your tea session. And I was even thinking maybe we just change into pajamas for today's tea session, because we're like, wow, we just want to chill out. But we decided to just wear something regular today. Yeah. So you guys were drinking, you said 2005 raw pour from Dino. Lily, you're having Bai Tsui Mei. I've never heard of that tea before. What is that? I always get excited when I hear about new teas. Ellie Emily, welcome, ciao. You're amazing too. I'm so glad to see you. It's been a while. I think we bumped up the time for our sessions a little bit too early for Tokyo now. Hope you're doing well. J. Scott P is here too. David Salchak, Rage Tea. Oh dude, I poured some tea in some like really flippin' crazy situations. Shiloh, maybe being in the Oregon tea scene, you've seen that sometimes. Tea can fit in really, really well in the party scene. Like, Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you, not just Shiloh, but maybe some of you have seen it happen. It's counterculture, you know? Like it's not coffee. Like you're not gonna drink coffee at a party. Yeah, I've poured tea in the middle of like our dance floor before. It's pretty interesting. And then people sit down, they're kind of like wide-eyed, like, "Hi, how's it going?" I'm like, "You need some tea. You need to hydrate, my friend." Okay, so I will preheat these while we're trying to design our tea session some more. Note that this gaiwan is cracked. So, is that part of my chashi? Yeah, it is. I actually chose this cracked gaiwan, even knowing that I need to baby it a little bit when I preheat it. I try not to hit it too hard with water. Immediately, it might talk actually. Usually when I preheat this gaiwan, it has like a clink, so don't panic if it does that. Ooh, there it is. Pop! This gaiwan has been there's so many times someone's bumped into me or like the lid gets dropped on the gaiwan and it still hasn't broken, which is really incredible. Steven's about to fill this in with lacquer for me, but it's still functional. Yeah. So this is a very personal pick. I just love this gaiwan. This is my favorite gaiwan. I think that's why I picked it today, because I could brew this tea however much. For those of you joining in again, we're just trying to figure out how to make a chashi from scratch. I didn't know which tea Steven would give to me today, so I had no idea what chashi we were making today. That's why we're kind of like all over the place, but that's okay. Being all over the place is okay sometimes. Process. Shiloh says, teas for everyone, extroverts, introverts, ambiverts, and everything in between. Yeah, that's true. It's definitely true. Claire said, I made the mistake of taking my sleep meds last night. Oh, you can't feel your feet? Do you still have your hands? You can still make tea. Yeah, welcome back. And Shiloh says, I brought my tea set up to a bonfire dance party once. People were raging hard and then needed to reach exactly. And they would drop in for tea, talk, relax, and they would go back to dancing. That's exactly what happens. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. So Shiloh knows. I know then you and me, Shiloh. We've seen the same faces come to the tea table and they're just like, I'm okay. It's like, you're not okay, but you will be in a little bit. Don't worry. And then send them back out to go rage. Because, yeah. I can rage pretty hard in tea. I don't need anything else, to be honest. Yeah. So, gaiwan display scoop thing. Do we want to use 2 cups? Yes or no? Eric says no. Let me think about it. So, do I want to use 2 cups and do I want to use a fairness pitcher? I think I don't want to use a fairness pitcher. I want to concentrate on the flavor of the tea. When you choose to use a fairness pitcher, it makes it easier to undertake the tea session. So if you have a lot of complicated things going on already in the setup, I would recommend using a pitcher. If there's a lot of people, use a pitcher. If you aren't comfortable with the tea that you're brewing, if the gaiwan is hot, if you're using someone else's gaiwan and you might burn yourself, if you're in a situation where there's just a little bit too much going on, the pitcher is a really nice way to make things more comfortable because it immediately helps you like decant easier. You know everyone's going to have like an even infusion of tea in their cups. But I think today would just mean Steven and me wanting to get the most out of this tea. I'm going to decide not to use it because what happens is that every single time you pour from a pot into something else, you're losing a little something. The most basic thing is you're losing temperature, right? This can be a good thing if you know you're drinking with people who like to just chug tea. There are people who like that in our like little tea circle where they've done it 1,000 times. We're just like, tea! And they'll just drink it. They're like, oh fuck, it's hot! I'm like, dude, it's not like you haven't had tea a billion times before. In that case, you have that friend, you know. You can use the chahai to cool it down so that when you pour into the cup, you have the perfect temperature. So that's a good advantage to using a chahai. But in this case, you know, I'm going to try to control the temperature myself. I'd like to keep the the flavor of the tea, and yeah, transferring from porcelain to glass to a different porcelain. That's 2 different material changes. I find that the more straight to the cup you are, the more clear the flavor of the tea is. Whether it's because of tea energy or because you're exposing the tea to so many different materials, just chemically speaking. I just find that going straight from the gaiwan to the cup gives a more clear flavor, stronger flavor. And that's why when you're drinking bowl style, you get even the most amounts of flavor and kind of like essence from the tea. So yeah, I'm going to use a cup and not the pitcher. And now, do I want to use 1 cup or 2? I think I want to use 2 cups. And I think I will use... How am I going to choose this? I know this tea does well with almost any kind of material. So when I first asked Steven to do this, I was like, oh, he's going to give me something tough. We're going to have to think about which cups match the tea. But this tea just tastes good with everything. So I have a little bit more freedom to decide based on the aesthetics of the tea session. I'm going to use a couple cups I haven't used in a long time. Yeah, we'll use these crackle cups. Okay? I think. I'm not sure yet. So why I chose these is because my display plate and my gaiwan have these lines, both painted on, and also my gaiwan has this kind of crack face to it. So I'm thinking lines. Yeah, this has lines too. It's got crackles on it as well. And I haven't used it in a while. Oh, and look, this is just by coincidence. I feel like this brown mat on the base of my gaiwan is kind of like the red base at the base of my cups. Does that look good? Yeah, it does. It kind of works out. It's not as visible on the video, but yeah, I kind of like that dark on the bottom, kind of rising up to like the clear cups. Yeah. And whether or not you find that to be appealing to you. On the flip side, if you're making a chashi from yourself, it doesn't matter if I don't think it's cool. I think it matters if you think it's cool. Because, yeah, you're kind of bringing joy to yourself, right? And usually I will find it pretty cool when people explain their chashi. There's almost never a time when someone explains their thought process that I'm not really impressed by that. I don't think there's a right way or wrong way to do chashi. It's just whether or not the person put the intention into it and is trying to make it a personal thing. I get pretty inspired by it. So I think in this case, yeah, I'll just share that with you. I like that this is just so happening to happen. Now this also invites the ability to bring in more red. So interestingly, my gaiwan has pops of pinkish red on the design because it has petals. And then now I only noticed that on the gaiwan because these cups, which I believe are Korean celadon cups, if not Korean celadon cups, and they're Japanese, they have these pops of red that are bringing out that splash of pinkish red on the gaiwan too. So that opens my possibilities up to use a little bit more red on the setup, if I'd like to. And again, this is not an exact science, which is why we're going this way and that. There's just so many options that you can go down. It's kind of like you're choosing your own adventure when you're trying to do chashi here. Yeah. Havana Fucha, welcome to today's tea practice. Dori Cheka, Nyanka Isbecker, Hide Stock. Our Netherlands friends are here. Welcome, welcome. Is it really late there? Dude, go to sleep, guys. Go to sleep. Is there anything else we want or need? Yeah, I feel like I need just a little bit of like nature to it. It's a very kind of, it's okay, it just needs a little bit more of an organic feel to it. So I'm going to try to use something from the box that we got from a couple days ago. Yeah, thanks, Steven. Whoa, don't fall down doing that. And yeah, how about one of these? Ooh, I like that already. Yeah, let's not put that there though. Like I said, if you're right-handed, this cone is going to get in the way, you know? Just going to knock it over. Put this here. Yeah. Is that okay? No, I need. Yeah, I'm not really looking for too much. Again, if you guys weren't around for the tea practice we did a couple days ago, me and Steven just went out for a walk, picked up any kind of like random bits that were on the floor or the plants didn't need. We didn't uproot any plants at all, just whatever scraps were lying around. Yeah, it's looking really nice actually. Gonna make it more earthy looking again. And then I have my leaves here, right? And because these leaves from the actual white tea are so leafy, I think they kind of hold their own on this side of the chashi. So I got some leaf material, kind of like natural textures going on here. And then because the white tea is so kind of rugged and rustic looking, I think it's holding it down over here in terms of the natural look. I've got my base, my gaiwan. I've got my 2 cups. Yeah. And then actually I want to see if I want to change this blue cha bu tea cloth here. I don't know. I just want to see if I can do a little bit better with a different color. See, yeah, it really is just a work in progress thing. I never know exactly how the cha shi is going to turn out when I first start. And yes, I will literally move everything else. I just want to see if it looks better. So remember how it looks like this, and tell me which you think looks better, okay? And do I do this all the time when I do tea? No. Do I do it sometimes? Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fun. You get to know your teaware better this way. And again, it is a meditative, kind of mindful and very fun practice. There's that quote that we picked up from the other day when we were watching StarCraft 2, professional StarCraft 2. It's a game that I grew up playing because my sister owned an internet cafe growing up, so we played a lot of like real-time strategy games. But one of the players was like, the person who is a genius can't beat the person who practices a lot, and the person who practices a lot can't beat the person who is having a good time. I was like, wow, holy crap. The genius cannot beat the person who practices a lot. And the person who practices a lot cannot beat the person who's having a good time. That's arguable, right? Like, practice is important, I'd say. But I think the basis of that quote is if you lose the joy and enjoyment and play in your tea practice, and it all becomes practice, I think there's a problem. I think for most of us, that's not going to be a problem, but there have definitely been times where I've been hard on myself, and my tea practice becomes too serious, I lose the joy, and then, you know, yeah. As long as you're still getting joy from it, I think it's totally worth it. And yeah, I do get joy from doing this kind of side-by-side. So what do you guys think? Do you think you liked better with the blue chashi? I mean the blue chabu? The blue tea cloth, or with this gold tea cloth here? Thoughts? Steven? I don't usually use this a lot on this table because this table is so similarly colored to the cloth. But I'm kind of digging it. I like it a lot, actually. I think it's missing just a little bit something. Yeah, and this gives me the opportunity to use our little dry buds without being too obtrusive because they're like kind of the same color, right? Because if I use this on the blue, these are the dry buds from the Japanese heavenly bamboo that last a long time. That's why we like them. These are like, what, 4 days old now? They still look really nice. They would pop a little bit too much, or not too much. It's just a different aesthetic, right? And I think because I did such a dramatic chashi yesterday, I kind of want to tone it down a little bit today. I like them both though, but I think I want to keep it a little bit simple. And I'm gonna, yeah, I think this is just a more simple look. It's less dramatic, I would say, than the blue. Yeah, I like the gold in this case. I think if I was needing a little bit more just energy and like creative boost, I would use the blue. Color theory, blue is supposed to be calming, but creative and generative and smart, you know, and then gold is supposed to be what? I don't know. Regal? It's gold? I don't know. I'm not a color psychologist, but I think I like this look just a tiny bit better. Like a tiny bit better. What do you guys think? You don't have to agree with me either. Yeah. If you prefer the blue, I invite you to go to IKEA, pick up one of these. It's only $3.99 at IKEA. Trust me, these are the best tea cloths in the business, okay? And we've used like handmade, hand-woven hemp fabric stuff from Taiwan. Like we go like to the Chashi store in Taiwan, and they have these beautiful cloths. I love them, but I hate ironing, and you've got to iron them. These? You think I ironed these? I've ironed them like once. I've ironed them like once. Usually all it takes is just a dryer cycle, and they kind of like solve their own wrinkles. I really, really like these from IKEA. Yeah. Do we need anything else for the tea table? I'm pretty happy with the setup. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the setup. I guess if you'd like to, you can put more green into it. But I will actually not put green on the setup. I think I would if we were dealing with a different tea. But because this tea is so dark and rustic looking, if we introduce something dramatic like this, tree cutting right here, we really like this plant that we happen to get these cuttings from. But you see how dramatic the color of the green is compared to the tea that we're trying to highlight? Suddenly the tea looks really lame, I would say, right? It just doesn't look quite right because we're trying to highlight the tea, not the surrounding area. If you have a different opinion, that's totally okay, and I prefer that you have an opinion. But for my purposes right now, I would say I don't want to put any other colors that drown out the tea because the tea is so subtle looking, okay? If this was a green tea, like a fresh green tea, like the Julia Ching we have, those, remember that your tea leaves are part of your chashi too. It's going to hold its own if you put it in a display vessel, right? Then maybe I could use the green. And also I could maybe turn my Gaiwan saucer around to show more of the green. But I actually chose to use, I usually turn this way because I don't like to use the green too much. There we go. No, yeah, I'm selecting now which side of the Gaiwan I want facing forward. And I want a little bit of green, but not too much green. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, now I'm happy, actually. So the cloth on the bottom kind of matches my pick here, matches the cone and the dried leaves over here, matches a little bit of the dark kind of patterns on the Korean cups. I like the setup. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Now, what does it do? It's pretty. You can Instagram it, Ree. It actually makes me pretty happy. It makes me excited to make the tea. I feel like because you put an effort into making your chashi, the tea that you end up making will inevitably be better because you're paying more attention. It's almost like you're working up to the attention that you need to brew the tea correctly because you put so much attention into the selection of the fabrics, the tea wares, the mood beforehand, that if you just waste it now, like, whatever, I'm just gonna brew the tea and not put effort into it. It's almost like you're wasting your own effort beforehand. So by doing the chashi, we're priming ourselves to put in as much effort, as much mindfulness, as much attention into it. And we own it now, like this is your creation, this is your session. You're going to put more effort into making it better because you own it, right? You've taken responsibility for it. There's just so many ways you can think about it. If you're artistic, it might be an expression of yourself. If you have a specific topic you want to meditate on, it might help to make a chashi that helps you focus on that topic. So many different ways you can go about it for sure. Yeah. So what did you guys think? You guys thought that the gold was going to be better. Clara says the blue. Shiloh says the blue. But that the quieter taupe or gold, how do you say that color? Taupe? T-A-U-P-E, taupe? Taupe? Taupe. The quieter taupe color evokes a lovely atmospheric quietude. Yeah, it's a little bit quieter. I think that's why I'm picking it, because I'm ready so, jiggly that I think I need something a little bit more low-key. Yeah, Sonia uses gold as well. Yeah, I like the gold a little bit better. Just a tiny bit. Asulite, welcome to tea practice today. And then now we will be brewing this tea that we have designed a chashi around. If you are just joining us now, we've spent the last, 30, 40 minutes trying to figure out how to create a chashi around the tea. And just to kind of explain some of the thought processes that go behind selecting tea wares. Luckily, this tea is a tea that I know does really well with many different kinds of teaware. And that's what experimenting with your teaware does for you. When it comes time to make a chashi, you already have all the experiments that you've done with your cups and teapots, and you can think, oh, those cups are good for white tea, or those cups are the best for oolong tea, etc. But even here, even if you know which cups match well with which teas, the shape and weight of the cups will also make a difference. So right now, it's pretty hot day outside, but it's pretty cool indoors. AC is going. If it was extremely hot, I probably wouldn't use these cups because they tend to be a little bit warmer. They're heavy cups, they have thick walls, they have this kind of like rustic, earthy tone to them, they have pops of red. This is a very autumn cup to me. I think the setup is quite autumn-like, I would say. So they're warm, but not too warm. But if it's really, really, really warm, I would actually use these cups. So these are porcelain cups with a base. Having them kind of float. When you have a cup with a base here, just visually they look like they're floating a little bit on the chashi, especially when I'm kind of like above here. So it kind of lifts up the session a little bit. They have like a little lighter color. So just visually they brighten up the session a little bit. And then finally, probably most importantly, they have thinner walls and they're very light. So when you hold them, they have a cool sensation to them that when someone touches them, they'll just feel that sense of coolness and refreshment. So if you're trying to brew a tea when it's really, really hot outside, basically, I would recommend trying to pick some cups that are a little thinner, a little bit more cooling, more refreshing, not so harsh, versus something like, I'll take it to the extreme. This is not a cup I want to drink out of during the summer, okay? It's just very warm and dark and reminds me of like volcanoes and charcoal and things I don't want to think about when it already feels like volcanoes outside. You know? It might be different for you though. Maybe you have a personal connection to something that is dark and cold, like a cave. Maybe you grew up in a cave and so you associate dark things with coolness. Maybe then you will use this cup. But for most of us, I'd probably say this is not a summer cup. Unless you have like a specific chashi that you're creating. To use like a rock chashi. I tried using it for yesterday's chashi with like the ocean inspired thing, but it was just way too dark. And then when you pour the tea into it, it's going to be very dark as well. I think I want to show off the color of this tea a little bit. So let's see if all of our work is going to make sense in the context of this chashi. Oh, actually, let me bring my waste bowl over here. Yeah, it actually works out pretty well. So I'm just tossing water off to the side without a waste bowl. So waste bowl, I love these for when you don't have a tea tray. I'm just gonna put it off to the side a little bit. You guys can't see it very much, but it's over here. I'm gonna move this over here just so you can see it to the side. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's very refreshing looking. But when you pick a waste bowl, I recommend using one that's not too colorful. You don't want the center point of your chashi to be your waste bowl. So usually the bowls that are used for waste are darker colored or a little bit more kind of, laid back. I actually use one of my own bowls I've made as a waste bowl, but you never see it on stream because it's so bright and beautiful, but it's a fucking waste bowl. Not to disrespect the bowl. I'm not saying like, oh, it's gross, it's a waste bowl, but it's so bright and beautiful, like compared to all my other materials, you'd be like, wow, your eyes are just immediately drawn to this bowl, you know, putting it on the table, suddenly everything else looks very washed out. So I don't like to use this most of the time on stream because I know it's going to draw your attention away because it's so bright. So I like to use, you know, if I'm doing a presentation, something light like this, where people can still see the buildup of the leaves, and it kind of pushes me to remember if the waste bowl is getting overflowing, because I can kind of see it to the side too. Yeah. Okay, let's finally brew this. See how it goes. 2012 Wild Mountain White. That we created this trash with together. Thanks for helping us. So display, little coaster. It doesn't have to be a scoop designed for tea. You can just use a little coaster and use a pick to put the leaves in. If you are having tea with someone else, this is something I learned from my teacher I. This shot where you're putting the leaves into the pot is like the one that everyone breaks out the camera for, okay? Because it's like, oh, it's the pot, everyone, you tossed out the water just now, the pot's preheated, there's this beautiful, elegant looking pick, and then the tea leaves, and the action's about to start. So this is the moment that if you are having tea with someone else, they're paying attention, okay? So just make sure that you're facing the leaves out. If you're with someone, okay, don't do this, all right? If you want to, I'm not saying don't, but don't. just face it forward, okay? So that they can see the leaves coming into the pot. Because if you do it this way, I almost want to do it just to spite you guys. No, I'm not going to do it. You're not going to see the leaves just satisfyingly fall into the pot. This is just so satisfying. I bet you guys are like, just do it, Ree! Just do it! Wow. It's so satisfying, isn't it? Yeah. Usually you want to do that within 3 little scoops, but I'm being playful, so yeah. And then you can choose if you'd like to fold the plate down, but for me, the price tags are still on this plate because I've never used it as a display plate before. That's funny, see? I've never used it as a display plate before. Just today, so I'm gonna leave it open. And so it doesn't look so empty, I'm gonna put my little leaves right there. Yeah. And I'm gonna put the pig right here. And just a little thing about just tea posturing during the Taiwanese tea ceremony. They say the heavier the item is, the lighter you want to set it down. But the lighter and more elegant the object is, you want to put more gravity into setting it down. It just helps for balance. So if you just put it there, it's almost like it's just so flimsy, you know? Just looks so, no? So put it down with some deliberation. Just visually it looks different. I know I'm a mess. I'm not doing it correctly today, but so many little things that I think about in chashi that kind of factor in. And so when I picked that pick for us to use today, I was thinking about how it would look like when I put it down. You know, I really was. And in this case, I know that these 2 cups are going to fit the liquor from this one gaiwan, just because of the amount of tea that fits into them. So knowing how much the volume is in all your teaware can be really useful in the long run. Yeah. Bart Arconti, welcome to today's tea practice. And Benjamin, nice to see you again. Yeah, this is my favorite gaiwan. I just love it so much. You'll notice that there's a crack down the side. I actually tilted it so it's not visible. There's actually 2 cracks down the side, but this gaiwan is just so well made that no matter how many times I crack it, it just holds. I think we've only had to do like 1 relatively minor repair to it.
It was leaking a little bit.
Yeah, it was leaking like a tiny bit. And that's only after like someone punched me with a kettle. That's Ken. and literally like it crashed into the gaiwan. It sounded like it shattered into a million pieces, and then I opened my eyes and it was still intact. I'm like, holy crap. What a reliable gaiwan. Okay. And then when you have 2 cups here that you don't have a fairness pitcher for, I'm only deciding not to use a fairness pitcher here because I am really confident using this gaiwan. I feel like I can handle not spilling too much. If you feel like you're going to spill, you can put a tray down, or just make sure that the cloth you're using is absorbent and doesn't show stains too much, doesn't show water too much, but in this case I think I can do it. I'm going to put them together, touch them so that the cups are touching. There's a part here where I can go back and forth with the liquor without spilling, and we should be able to do it. Yeah. Or you can just go back and forth, as I think I'm gonna, yeah, because there's a little bit of a hole. These cups have such thick walls that I can't do that back and forth without spilling a little bit to the cloth. So just go back and forth. Make sure that they're relatively the same color. You can tell if they're relatively the same like infusion strength as long as the color is the same. I'm sure a lot of you know this already, but if I just went with the gaiwan 1 and then 2, the first one would be really light, the second one would be really dark. Nice and even here. And now Steven can finally have some tea. What a process, right? But is it rewarding? It's really rewarding. Yeah. The tea just matches really well with the chashi for me. I'm really happy with what we've created. Every single time you do a chashi like this, it might seem like there's a lot of effort that's being done for just one tea session. And it's true. We have to be okay with the idea that we put a lot into something that lasts just one moment. And there's a beauty in that, you know? It's a tea session you'll never replicate again. I will never make this exact chashi ever again with this tea. Maybe with a different tea, maybe with a slightly different cup or gaiwan or you know, natural setup, you know, but it'll never replicate itself again. And there's something really beautiful in that, right? And then you have to be okay with it going away. But because it only happens once, I find that I really remember those sessions I did that I made a chashi for, because I have so many different things I had to do surrounding that session, you know? I've had the Wild Mountain White so many times, but this will stand out as one of the sessions that I made a chashi for. And, you know, it was during the quarantine here in Vegas, and we did that one Saturday. It helps you cement this tea in your mind, I think. And then not only that, just on a practical level, whenever you do this, you gain a little bit more mastery over your teaware. I have like plus 1% experience with my gaiwan. I have plus 1% experience with my cups. Do they taste good in these cups? Yeah. So now next time I'm going to think, oh, I remember these cups do pretty well with white tea, you know? This is my first time using this dish again as a display dish. Now I know I can use it as a display dish in a chashi. It looks pretty good. You know, it's a kind of plate that actually looks okay when I put the leaves down. It doesn't spill over the sides. Tiny things that, again, when we're doing tea, I think that we're trying to fight for every 1% improvement we could possibly make. If you do 1% here, 1% there, maybe 10% here, some things are more important than others. Like the tea that you choose is going to be a lot, right? That's like a 15% improvement or 100% improvement. When you add all those up and then suddenly your session is 1 or 2 times better, it adds up to a really good result, I think. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed our little work in progress today with the chashi. The message today, I guess, is that I don't wake up in the morning. I know exactly what I'm going to do with our tea setups. It takes some trial and error. It takes some kind of like, what do I do? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And that's okay. Even if it means you just have to take out all your tea wares, put a different color cloth, or make adjustments, or it doesn't work out, that's fine too. It's all the journey. Yeah. This tea's good too. Yeah. Good tea. Anyway, thanks for joining us today. Hope you guys are enjoying the Chashi Challenge so far. If you guys are not in the Chashi Challenge yet, you have a week still to do 3 different little sessions. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just your typical session is fine. Inspire others, share with others, explore. Just have fun with it. like Shiloh said, it's tea play. So enjoy. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Bye.